Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, an Apple original series.
The world is on fire. I decided to do something about it.
On November 17th.
This place, it's not ours. Believe me.
The most massive event of the year arrives.
If you come with me, you'll know everything, I promise.
Oh my God, go!
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. Streaming November 17th, only on Apple TV+.
If you've been feeling overwhelmed with anxiety lately, try listening to a guided meditation on the Meditation for Anxiety podcast. Meditation is a proven, natural way to help you calm down and dissolve stress so you can feel lighter and happier. So subscribe for free today to the Meditation for Anxiety podcast by searching for Meditation for Anxiety on your favorite podcast player.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1953. Stop People-Pleasing. 5 Key Steps to Authentic Living. By Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of ORD, where I, Greg Audino, read and comment on some of the best articles around regarding relationship building. And today we're going to dive right into this one from Cylon George. So sit back and relax as we optimize your life. Stop People-Pleasing. 5 Key Steps to Authentic Living. By Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. Quote, sometimes you don't realize you're actually drowning when you're trying to be everyone else's anchor. That's by Anonymous. You know the feeling. You're at a party, and you find yourself nodding along to someone's opinion, even though you don't agree. Or maybe you're constantly saying yes to extra work projects, despite already feeling overwhelmed. I'm familiar with people-pleasing because it's something I've struggled with over the years. My aha moment came when I realized that even after all my efforts to make others happy, I had negatively impacted my relationships with others and myself. I learned the hard way that I cannot make others happy, nor can I make them like me. This realization helped me see how much energy I was wasting on trying to control something that I fundamentally had no control over. It was the push I needed to finally develop strategies to stop people-pleasing. Maybe you've struggled with people-pleasing. Maybe you're feeling drained, overwhelmed, and hopeless. There is hope, because today we'll discuss the reasons behind people-pleasing and offer some practical tips to help you break free from this limiting behavior. Number 1. Identify your people-pleasing habits. People-pleasing can have negative consequences in our lives. It's important to identify these habits and understand why we do them so that we can make positive changes. One of the most common signs of people-pleasing is constantly seeking approval from others. This could be through trying to please everyone, saying yes to requests even when it's not convenient, or avoiding confrontation at all costs. These actions typically come from a dread of being rejected, causing us to routinely put other people's wants before our own. Another sign is over-apologizing for everything you do, even when it isn't necessary. We may feel guilty for taking up space or speaking up for ourselves, so we apologize as a way of compensating for this feeling. But this habit only reinforces the idea that we are not worthy unless others approve of us, a dangerous mindset if left unchecked. We also tend to take on more than we can handle because saying no feels like an impossible task. We end up with too much on our plate and soon become overwhelmed by all the tasks that need completing, or worse yet, resentful towards those who asked us in the first place. Taking on too much out of fear or guilt leads to burnout and exhaustion, which further perpetuates unhealthy people-pleasing habits, such as avoidance or denial, rather than facing difficult conversations head-on with confidence and clarity about what works best for us individually. Lastly, another sign is always putting yourself down before anyone else has a chance to criticize you. Self-deprecation becomes second nature instead of standing tall in your accomplishments and successes, even small ones. You might find yourself making excuses instead of taking responsibility for your actions, which keeps you stuck in this cycle until you recognize how damaging it really is. Identifying these patterns will help you gain insight into why they exist. Once understood, the hard part follows, learning how to break free from them while seeking to preserve important relationships in the process. Number 2, understand your motivations. Whatever the reason may be, understanding your motivations for people-pleasing can help you break free from this unhealthy habit and create stronger relationships with those around you. Exploring the root of your desire to please others can begin by reflecting on past encounters and how they influenced your views about yourself and other people. For example, if growing up you felt like an outsider in your family or community because of something unique about you, like having different religious beliefs, you may have developed a need for approval as an adult in order to fit in with those around you. Another factor that might drive people-pleasing behavior is low self-esteem. Feeling insecure and inadequate makes it hard to not seek validation from outside sources, like friends and family members. If this resonates with you, take some time alone each day to practice self-compassion and affirmations that boost your confidence levels, so that seeking external validation isn't as necessary. Finally, consider whether there are any underlying fears driving your need for approval, such as fear of rejection or abandonment. Fearful thoughts tend to lead us down the path towards people-pleasing, since we want desperately to avoid these negative outcomes at all costs. However, it's important to recognize these feelings so that they do not dictate our decisions going forward. Understanding your motivations for people-pleasing can be a difficult but necessary step in order to start living authentically. Now, having come to grips with the motivations behind your people-pleasing tendencies, it's time to set limits and foster healthier connections between yourself and others. Number 3, set boundaries. It's essential to create limits in your life for yourself and others. Boundaries help protect your needs, values, and energy from being taken advantage of or depleted. Creating limitations is an essential part of taking care of oneself and advancing one's growth. First, identify the areas where you need to establish boundaries with yourself or others. Once you've done so, it's time to take steps to set those boundaries. Start by communicating clearly with those around you about what your expectations are regarding these topics. It can be helpful to use I statements when doing this, so that there isn't any confusion as to who is responsible for enforcing the boundary. You. For example, instead of saying, "You make me upset when you gossip about me," you may say, "I feel hurt when you gossip about me, and I would like it to stop." Doing this will help ensure that everyone understands what is expected of them in order for the boundary setting process to be successful. Next, practice saying no when appropriate, even if it makes other people uncomfortable or unhappy at first. Declining to agree with certain requests doesn't have to mean the end of relationships. Rather, it can be an opportunity to clarify expectations, which in the long run can strengthen interpersonal ties. Practice speaking calmly but firmly when declining requests that don't align with your values or goals. This will show others that their requests won't automatically be granted just because they asked nicely. Ensure that your own needs are not overlooked while attending to the requirements of others. Allocating time and resources towards meeting other people's needs should not come at the expense of neglecting your own. Having strong boundaries means nothing if they aren't backed up by consistent self-care practices, such as getting enough sleep each night or eating nutritious meals regularly throughout the day. Take some time every day or week specifically dedicated towards looking after yourself physically and emotionally. It'll go a long way in helping maintain healthy boundaries in any given situation. Number 4, learn how to say no. Saying no can be one of the most difficult tasks for a people pleaser. People pleasing is often rooted in fear, and saying no can feel like it will lead to rejection or disappointment from others. When faced with a situation where you would normally give in to people pleasing behavior, take some time before responding so that you can think through your options carefully. You don't have to rush into giving an answer right away. Instead, ask for more information, or even suggest alternatives if necessary. Rather than hastily complying with another's wishes, taking the time to consider your options and suggest alternatives can help ensure you make decisions that are in line with what's best for you. It's essential to remember that it is okay to say no. You are not obligated to anyone, and standing up for yourself isn't being mean or selfish. It just implies your needs matter too. Saying no allows us space and time we need without feeling guilty about it. Learning to say no is a critical step in the journey of self-discovery and living authentically. To make progress, it's essential to prioritize self-care and devote time for one's own well-being. And number 5, acknowledge your self-worth. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others, but it's important to remember that your self-worth comes from within and is not dependent on what other people think of you. Start by taking time each day to reflect on your positive qualities and accomplishments. This will help build a strong sense of self-confidence and allow you to be more comfortable in your own skin. Make sure to celebrate even small successes, as they all add up over time. You can also practice affirmations or mantras throughout the day, such as "I am worthy" or "I have value." This will remind you that no matter what anyone else says, you are enough, just as you are. You're worth it. By following these steps, you can start living authentically and experience the joy of being true to yourself. People-pleasing is a difficult habit to break, but with consistent effort, it is possible to overcome. You are worth the time and effort. You just listened to the post titled, "Stop People-Pleasing: 5 Key Steps to Authentic Living" by Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com.
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, an Apple original series.
The world is on fire. I decided to do something about it.
On November 17th.
This place, it's not ours. Believe me.
The most massive event of the year arrives.
If you come with me, you'll know everything, I promise.
Oh my God, go, go, go!
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, streaming November 17th, only on Apple TV+.
This show is sponsored by Regain Couples Therapy by BetterHelp. Whether you're in the honeymoon phase or partners for life, perfectly content with your partner or going through a rough patch, setting aside time to listen to each other and work through conflicts can transform your relationship. And I can tell you from experience that sometimes the best place to learn how to be the better listener or communicator that your partner needs is in therapy. If your relationship is having ups and downs, or you simply want to work on yourselves together, consider giving Regain a try and see how your relationship can improve, no matter what stage you're at. This is an entirely online form of therapy that's not only helpful, but also designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. The best relationships are always worth fighting for. Try something new in therapy. Visit regain.com/ORD today to get 10% off your first month. That's regain.com/ORD. And a big thank you to Cylon for a wonderful and thoughtful post. One of the most profound takeaways, I think, is the analogy presented in the quote at the beginning. So just like an anchor that sinks while keeping the ship steady, a person can also get so consumed in fulfilling others' needs that they neglect their own well-being, leading them to drown emotionally and mentally. And this resonates deeply with those who often find themselves sacrificing their needs for the happiness of others. People-pleasing can stem from various motivations, whether it's, fear of rejection, a need for validation, or past experiences that have shaped one's behavior. However, the critical realization is that constantly trying to be everyone's anchor is not sustainable. It can lead to burnout, resentment, and just a feeling of being lost. Therefore, acknowledging one's self-worth and setting boundaries is obviously vital. After all, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And this piece serves as a reminder that while it's noble to support others, it's equally important to anchor oneself first. So thank you once again to Cylon for this post, and thanks to all of you for listening through to the end. I know it was a longer one. I appreciate you all as always. We definitely could not do this without you. Now, it's time to go, so have a great rest of your weekend, and be sure to start your week with us again tomorrow. That's where your optimal life awaits.